Hello, Tamira Hamilton here, and it's been a little while since I went live, so I wanted to come on. It's been a really fun and interesting few weeks since the Facebook and Instagram outage a couple months ago. Talking to myself, but don't worry, I will of course run multiple watch parties of this video. So what I wanted to talk about today is kind of like give you an update on the state of what's going on in social media. It's kind of a very interesting and fun time, which isn't it for me with me being a marketing nerd. So I wanted to share my experiences and what is going really well, so in hopes that you can duplicate some of that success for yourself. And I wanted to try something new, and that was I was thinking about creating a poll, and I want to know what's working well for you. With respect to your social media. So let me know. Is it video, or is it watch parties? It looks like it only gives me 2 options, so I'm just playing around with this new feature. So if you can type that in there. Actually, it looks like that kind of, I'm not going to be able to do that. I'll have to do that some other time. So anywho, I wanted to share what is working well for me. And I think what allows me to be able to be fluid, to use that word that everybody's throwing out there lately, to be fluid with respect to my social media marketing is just some core principles, not even necessarily marketing principles. They might even be more like life principles. And that number one principle that I live by in my marketing is knowing who is it that I serve, followed by how do I serve them. And then the last piece of it is pulling it all together and trying to serve as many people as possible. Sometimes that's a small number, sometimes that's a larger number. So that's what's working for me, is I continue to be very tuned into knowing who is it that I serve and how do I serve them. Yes, I am here to make money. That's how I look good. That's how I eat good. It's how I keep a roof over my head. But the primary focus is on how can I help people? What am I here to do in terms of serving other people? And that's why you see things like Freebie Friday and all kinds of free stuff coming out from me lately, because it's how can I serve more? Okay, I firmly believe that by serving more, I will be blessed more, and that includes monetary compensation. So I think that's the first place to look if you're not getting the results you desire from your business, from your social media marketing, okay? From anything in life, is are you serving other people, or are you all focused on yourself? I'm going to go a little deeper with this because I work with clients, right? And you know, I can only implement what I know works. Does it mean that it's going to work 100% of the time? No, it absolutely does not. Does it mean that even when it works, that it's going to work at the highest end of the potential scale? It does not. And I'm going to explain to you what usually is occurring when it does not happen at the highest end of the potential scale, or it doesn't work. It usually is because the client is not focused on who they serve and how they serve them. They tend to get a little bit of ADD, and it's usually because they get really focused on some new opportunity by way of a new product, a new launch, a new incentive for them to do really well, instead of staying the course and staying focused. It doesn't mean that you don't ever reintroduce that new product or that new launch, but you have to stick to your core strategy. Okay, you have to stick to your core strategy, and for me that evolves around knowing who is it that I serve and how I serve them. You cannot have ADHD, and 1 minute you're doing this and 1 minute you're doing that. And I'll be honest, a little bit earlier this year and late last year, I got to a point where you may recall this video I did where I talked about how blessed I was and how I manifested these things and my mentors were pouring into me. And I don't know that it was that I got overwhelmed with them mentoring into me and pouring into me, but I started to feel like they were running my business, and I had to pull back and be like, I love you and I love what you're doing for me, but it has to work for me because it is, after all, at the end of the day, my business. You cannot have other people running your business. You know, my children, the way they were always raised was we could talk about anything, right? And I remember my oldest daughter saying to her teacher, I don't know who you think you are that you don't get to listen to me, but my mom with a master's degree, she always listens to me, even if she does what she's going to do, she at least pays me the respect of listening to me. And that's how it is with your mentor. You always want to listen to them, but you have to make the decisions and do what you need to do and stick to what it is that you know to do. I mean, I have mentors saying just constantly pump out content. I have other mentors who it's all about just running ads and, you know, having everything automated, where I am more where I succeed best is bringing the two together. And that's what I had to remember, is to continue to work on that and continue to build a deep relationship with my audience. And that's why we have had success on the Facebook business page. Okay. So that's the first thing that's been working, is knowing who I serve and how I serve them. The other thing that has been working very well for me is serving those that I serve by multiple channels of distribution and communication. And that means email marketing has been doing very, very well for me. My lead capture system has been working very, very well for me. All of these things work together, because the next thing on my list is watch parties. So let me tell you how this works, okay? So I have been hosting watch parties, and as the host, I treat it like TV. If I'm hosting this, then I'm going to have my sponsored message. And my sponsored message is to download the Essential Guide to Social Media Engagement. And that has been collecting leads for me organically and for free. It does not require a lot of time for me. I know the best groups to do it in. I know the best times to host the parties. And that has been working really well for me. Really foundational internet online marketing is working really well. And that's the thing. You have to stick to the strategy and not jump all over these tactics that everybody is like, oh, this is this week's hack and that's that week's hack. No, it's really sticking to. Watch parties might sound like the latest, greatest, current thing, but think about what I said. I know who I serve, so I know where they're hanging out on Facebook, so I know where to host that watch party. So again, that watch party might be a tactic, but the overarching strategy still is intact, and that is knowing who I serve and how I serve them. I serve them with that lead magnet, and I know where to find them to make sure that they at least know that the lead magnet is there, and it's entirely up to them to opt into it. That is the real deal with email marketing. It is permission based, okay? Permission based. A lot of people are afraid of email marketing because they say, oh, but what about you can't email people too much, they'll unsubscribe. I'll be honest, I used to worry about those things, but I don't anymore. Because here's the deal. If you opt out of my list where I'm giving you something free that's going to help you with your business, then who really lost here? I didn't. Next. And it's good that you're leaving my list, because you're making room for the person who wants to be there and who values the information, and it's going to bless them. Okay. And so permission-based marketing, it's not about going out to Panera or to Einstein's, you know, your coffee shop, and there's a bulletin board with business cards and you grab a bunch of them and you start emailing those people. That's not permission-based. Permission-based is a value exchange, and that's what makes actually my subscribe rate really, really low. It makes my open rate really, really high, because I'm providing value and they're on the list because they chose to be there and they continue to be there. Nobody's holding them hostage, okay? If you want more information on email marketing, check out my blog post, Is Building an Email List Necessary for Business Survival? It's also linked up to and embedded in that post is the episode 7 of the 6-Figure Sales Funnel Marketing podcast, which talks about why you need to build an email list, okay? Video works really well, and especially I'm loving video and IGTV together over on Instagram. Repurposing content and turning it into short video, longer than a minute though, and putting that on IGTV is doing really, really well. Curated video that, again, my ideal client would be interested in hearing that message, because it's about sharing more than you. That leaves you open to collaboration. It makes you part of the greater community if you've read the engagement guide. And that has been doing really well for me. Those short videos, the digestible, bingeable content that I find online that relates to things that my ideal avatar would be interested in, because it's either a pain point or it's just another Me Too moment and helps them get through their day, is doing really well. Lastly, a few weeks ago, I hosted a watch party. It wasn't my content. It was from the godmother of Facebook herself, Mari Smith. And Mari Smith discussed the fact that there is a new era of Facebook, and Mark Zuckerberg released a manifesto, and there's all this debate on whether or not he said there was going to be a newsfeed or not. If they never get rid of the newsfeed, they can get rid of the newsfeed. I need you to understand this, by placing less emphasis on the newsfeed. And if you're seeing a drop in your engagement, it's because it's happening now. Okay. And I'm going to prove it to you, because I am noticing really high numbers of views on my Facebook stories. Stories are working for me on both Facebook as well as Instagram. They actually added some new features to stories from your business page. So you can archive or make highlights on your business page. And there was one other feature, I can't remember it. Not that my business page stories are doing all that well, but Facebook stories on my personal timeline are doing very well for me. People, and I love it because you can actually see who viewed it and see how many people actually viewed it, regardless of if they liked or commented. And that's something I really wanted to talk about, and that is this concept of anonymous engagement. That is really what I believe that they mean by the new era of Facebook, where people get to engage in your content anonymously. If you've taken Influence Booster, if you were on my team when I was building a network marketing team, you will know that I often talked about the fact that someone would follow me from anywhere from 6 to 18, 24 months before I ever even knew they were there, and they raised their hand and said they wanted to join my team. That is an example of anonymous engagement. So I'm going to explain to you how anonymous engagement manifests itself and why it's important to you, what you need to know about it. So anonymous engagement, it manifests itself by way of bookmarking on Facebook, on Instagram, saving to a collection. On Facebook, it's saving the post or the video to come back and watch later. That's an example of anonymous engagement. A video view is an excellent example of anonymous engagement. Only about 20% of your video viewers are going to like or comment. The rest are completely invisible to you. And I'm going to share something with you from my own personal, like just who I am and my personality. One of the reasons I truly believe I enjoy hanging out on Instagram is Instagram doesn't interrupt me as much as Facebook does. Facebook can be very annoying with all of the alerts, all of the notifications. It can actually drive your heart rate up and give you anxiety. And I dislike that. I don't need to be notified of every little thing. And that's what I love about Instagram. I've got the notifications off because I do have multiple accounts and it gets very busy. So I've got the notifications off and I can interact. I can like and comment on your post without getting notification or having to turn off notifications. The only notification I'm going to get if I comment on your post is between you and I, which is all I need anyway. Everything else ain't my business, right? And so if you are my friend in real life on Facebook and Instagram, and you make the same post on Facebook and Instagram, I'm going to be most likely to comment on it over on Instagram, because it's not going to come back and haunt me. It's not going to come back and interrupt me. And that's one thing you need to know about generational differences. Okay. Your younger millennials are more likely to be very judicious or prudent about giving that like and comment out, because they know all of the things that are going on behind the scenes. And, you know, if I like this, I can end up getting ads, and it can mess up my algorithm, and I start seeing all these other things. Or some of your older people may just like and comment on more things. And then you also are going to have older people who, like my dad, is a complete anonymous engager. He just watches. He engages very, very little. You will hear from my dad on Facebook like twice a year. He wishes me a happy birthday, and every now and then he just gushes over me and tells me how much he loves me. But he sees and hears and knows just about everything, unless there's something else going on in his life. So anonymous engagement is really where Facebook is headed, where people can interact with on their terms without getting bombarded with all kinds of notifications and all the headache that comes with that, along with more protection of their data and, you know, and their activity from a privacy standpoint. So stories is going to be a huge part of that. And the sooner we adapt to stories and integrate stories into our marketing mix and do it the right way, the better. There's one more thing with stories that I'm actually not going to share on this live. And this is a good one, especially if you are a business owner. To get this information, you have to be in my Facebook group for the 5-day video challenge. You can join the challenge at any time and get started. It's all in the learning unit. But I'm going to, when I finish this video, I'm going to actually go live over in that group, and I'm going to share something that I recently discovered about stories. And it's really a good thing for marketers, especially if you're building a personal brand from your personal timeline. But to get that information, you need to be a member of that group. So I'm going to put that in the comments as I end this video. And make sure you download that Essential Guide to Social Media Engagement if you have not already. And that is tamirahamilton.com/engagement. And I am going to pin that comment now for that guide. Okay, so that is it. You have a great day, and I will chat with you soon. Bye.